Good morning. So here I am inside of my I think we're now calling it my she shed, my greenhouse. And it's March. Happy St. Patrick's Day. So I am in here to talk about some of the stuff I'm doing and some of the stuff that you should be doing if you're in the high desert. That is the desert that still gets some frost. So all of your stuff goes dormant in the winter and you have a lot of frost dates. We don't, we get into the single digits every once in a while, but for the most part, we do drop below 30, and that's where you have to really worry about most of your plants. So for March, I want to let you know you need to have your onions in and you need to have your potatoes in. Now, I do say northern high country Arizona is where I am. Down in Phoenix, and I've lived in Phoenix, Mesa, Glendale, all those areas. You can grow year round. You have very few frost dates. There's like three or four, and all you have to do is go out at night, take a sheet or a blanket or something. You want it kind of lightweight, but cover up your plants for that night, and you're growing your tomatoes and stuff constantly. And you'll be doing your potatoes and cooler crops, garlic, that kind of thing. In that area in the low desert, you're going to want to do them during the winter. That's going to be your winter crop. Where here you should have your garlic in. This is a good time to put your potatoes in. I put mine in last week. I already have one plant showing up. You want your carrots in because once June comes along, carrots take a long time to grow. And once June comes around, it's going to be too hot for them. You want your peas. Next month, you're going to want to start your beans and that kind of thing. You want your lettuces to go in, your brassicas, that's your cabbages, your cauliflower, your broccoli, spinach, kale, mustard, collard greens, those kind of things. They can take a little bit of cold and they like a little bit of cold. So even if you have a frost date, you're going to be okay. Generally, my rule of thumb is I don't take anything out that can't take a frost until Mother's Day. For some reason, we'll have this beautiful weather through April, through May. All of a sudden, Mother's Day comes around, and either that weekend or like 2 days after, it's going to hit a freeze. And everything that you just put out that's all happy, gonna die. So in my greenhouse, I told you last month, I had planted my tomatoes, and I put 4 seeds per cup. This one is a beef steak, and I get all of my seeds from In My Gardener. The reason I do is the seeds in the stores tend to be very old, and not all of them will come up. In My Gardener, every single plant that I have planted has come up. It's germinated, it's come up, they're real healthy, happy. I probably have like 79 varieties of tomatoes growing in here. I like a lot of different tomatoes. They all taste different, they all have a different texture. And if you're making like a spaghetti sauce out of them, which I do, I make the spaghetti sauce and salsa and I can it. Lasts me all winter. Husband goes through the salsa like mad. Um, anyway, so I grow a lot of varieties. You want to find what you like. A lot of people like cherry tomatoes. A lot of people really like the little pear. I have only seen in person the yellow pear, but from In My Gardener I got a red pear, and I'm really excited about that. If you go on to In My Gardener and you buy some seeds from them, and they're really inexpensive, really. Um, there's one that's called Matt's Wild Cherry, and I will tell you that that plant produced for me all summer, and it produced masses. Now, they're little tiny, itty bitty tomatoes, but their flavor is like a full beefsteak. And man, they were wonderful. So I'd go through my garden. My breakfast would basically be munching on these tomatoes. But you can see the stalks on these are thick. Let's see. Okay. Where you see this one, the stalks are still kind of skinny. I will not replant these yet until they get more like this. Because when I transplant them, they're less feeble, they're stronger, they'll hold their own. So what I'm going to do is I start everything in this. You can see there's some holes in the bottom. And I keep these, I'll use them, I'll just keep writing on them what it is. I'm going to transplant those into a container like this. And I save these. I just keep recycling them until they bust. And which will happen over the years. They'll break. Or somebody steps on them, or God knows what happens. Anyway, so I will be transplanting these into a new container so they're all individually in their own container, growing well. And then right after Mother's Day, I put these in buckets. My soil is not that great, as you all have had torture with. So it's mostly clay, and I have been amending it. I put all my compost on it. I get it in there every year. But it's still not great. It's wonderful for my squashes, but squashes will grow anywhere. And it's pretty decent now that I can grow my melons in there. But everything else is done either in a raised bed or, like with these, and I'll be showing you my peppers, I put them in buckets. They have good soil in the buckets. They drain well. And it's just worked really well for me. Plus, if I find out that I have put it in a bucket somewhere in the yard that's just getting either too much sun or not enough sun, because, the only shade you really get in the desert is from your house. So, but if I find that out, I can move the bucket, just pick up the whole thing and move it. And because you're going out during the middle of the summer, up until mid-June, you can water these like once a day and you're good. And I know you see a lot of professionals who are like, once a week, blah, blah. The problem is that we have the scalding hot sun. And basically my rule is you water them first thing in the morning so they survive the heat. Then you water them then in the evening so that they get the water that they need to survive. And so far, that's worked really well for me. Now, I started these really early, and it's not too late, but here's the time to do it. Get them going, because you need them big enough to take out when it's warm enough. If you do not get an early start on your tomatoes, you're only going to get a few tomatoes at the very end of summer. So you really, really want to do it now. Now I'm going to show you. Let's pick up this one. This one is a Beauty Bell pepper. See how much smaller they are. They were all planted at the same time. Your peppers, and I don't care what pepper it is, I have bell peppers, jalapenos, regular peppers, Anaheim peppers, sweet peppers, green peppers. I'm growing about 50 varieties of peppers. And a lot of them I'm going to give out because I don't eat cayenne peppers, but I have a lot of friends who love cayenne pepper. And they're jalapeno. I don't do jalapenos, but I have a lot of friends who do jalapenos. So I'll give them away. But on your peppers, get them going. They take a long time to grow. So these I planted at the beginning of March. Same thing with my tomatoes. You can see how much bigger the tomatoes are. Peppers take a long time. Here's the great thing about peppers: if you plant them in a bucket or a planter or whatever, make sure it's deep because it's going to run the roots. But you can actually, if there's a pepper that you really, really love, you can take the whole plant, the whole bucket inside, put it wherever it's going to get a little bit of sun, and winter it so that it's still alive. And then next year, you can bring it right out, and right away it'll start giving you peppers. I had one last year that I had inside that I think it was right around this time of year. It was already starting to give me fruit. So peppers, you can overwinter them, put them in your greenhouse, put them in the house. I had mine because my greenhouse is all new. I had mine in a bay window of my house, and I had like 6 different plants in there. I also take in, like, I always grow some mint inside or in containers, and I brought my mint in. My mint is just flourishing. I had a jasmine, which I'll show you in just a second. My jasmine, I overwintered inside, and it's March 17th, and I opened up my greenhouse, and it just smells wonderfully because the jasmine is in bloom. So greenhouses are wonderful if you have some space in your house to overwinter something that's been potted. Go ahead and do it. I was really surprised to find out my pepper would overwinter inside. I had never thought about it, and I saw somebody do it on YouTube, and I went, "Oh, I'm going to do that," because I had some peppers that I really, really wanted to keep. Um, so that's it. If you're going to start artichokes from seed, do it now. Now remember, once you put that place your artichoke well. Once you put that artichoke in the ground, which you want to do, it will keep coming back every year. Uh, so as long as you don't disturb its area. So figure out where you want it and know that it's going to live there forever. So think of it more like a tree instead of a plant that's fruiting. I don't know what else to tell you now. I will tell you I had a wonderful year this year with the plants that I bought at Tractor Supply. I bought a grape, a blueberry, a raspberry, a Nanking cherry, and a kiwi, and they are all happy as can be. They've already put on leaves. Looks like I have a raspberry over here that is already trying to flower, and a few flies have gotten in here, figures. But let me show you here. Let's see if I can get this to turn around.